Hello once again, everybody. This is going to be a slightly different subject. I have covered it before. It concerns the bike behind me to a degree, but this is actually an update of sorts. A while ago now, I made a video about depression and how I deal with it when I get it. And this is something that's just dawned on me recently, and it seems to have helped me. I'm sure it's a factor, so I just thought I'd mention it just in case the same sort of thing might help somebody else. Behind me, the bike behind me, I've owned that since I was 17 years old, and it was an absolute wreck. It looked hideous. It was awful mechanically. It was almost dangerous on the road, but I used it for a few years and messed about with it. Eventually, I took it all to pieces and robbed bits off it for other ones and put bits away. And in more recent years, probably within certainly the last sort of 8 or 9 years, I decided that I would do it up because I had the experience and the knowledge which I lacked as a youngster, and I still had the vast majority of the bits I needed. So I decided that I was going to build it back up again, and what you see behind me is the result so far. It's almost finished, but not quite. But anyway, the reason it plays a part is because I started restoring it, as I say, about, I don't know, 8 or 9 years ago, something like that, and I had the bit between my teeth, and I made some pretty good progress with it. And then what happened was, I think, work and looking after and tuning our race bikes got in the way of it, and this bike just stayed on the bike lift behind me where it is now. It's well, like I say, 8 or 9 years at least, and I think, and this is subconsciously now, I think it was sort of compounding my depression when I got bouts of it. And I can only think that in very recent times I started working on this, and I've more or less completed it. It's working, it's on the road, and I'm happy with it. But seeing it as I went back and forth between the bike lift at the other end of the workshop and this workbench and everything, that was always there, gathering more dust and having bits and pieces dumped on top of it and whatever. And every now and again I'd sort of think to myself, I really ought to do something and get that finished someday. Oh yeah, when I get round to it, when I get time. I've got so much to do and everything. And that just sort of went on like that, really, until one day, quite recently, I think this year in fact, I decided that I'd invest in a few of the little bits and pieces that I didn't have, that I needed to sort of make it more complete, and at least get the thing running and see what it ran like and decide if I wanted to carry on. And so in the last year, and the last 6 months in particular, I've spent a lot of time on it, and I've made a complete bike, which I'm happy with, how it runs and everything. We've had a little hiccup with the fuel tank. I'm going to make a separate video about that, because this video won't be included in the bike ones. This is all about how I think this made a contribution to I don't know, I think preventing me I haven't had a bout of it in quite some time, actually, and I think a lot of it is down to this. I think this is the key. I've been distracted, and I've been able to involve myself in something, but also I've got rid of what I would call the elephant in the room, in here at least, where I don't have to look at an incomplete frame and engine with bits painted and perhaps a back wheel on it, I think there was, and that was about it. I can look at a complete bike that, if I want to, I can take off that bike lift and ride up the road now. It's only on there really because it's used to living there, and I'm used to it being there, and I need the floor space elsewhere for other things. But that has given me a great lift, and I think what I'm trying to say is, it doesn't have to be a motorbike. Whatever might interest you, or try and think of something that perhaps you really have been feeling like you ought to have done or dealt with for quite some time but haven't got round to it, and just go the extra mile and actually get involved in it and do it. And I think you just might find that all of a sudden you feel much better. I can only speak for myself, and I know that when I do get these bouts, when they do come on, they can be horrible, And the last video I made about it, which I'll put a link to that video in my description of this video actually, but I was actually just I was coming up out of rock bottom when I made that video. I couldn't have made it when I was in the bottom of the trough, but I was on my way out of one, and it was quite a bad one, and I don't think I've had one since then, which is quite good going for me actually. So, and I think it's the fact that I've got something done which subconsciously has been perhaps bugging me a bit all the time without me necessarily fully realising it. I've done it, and it's great. I'm not saying I'll never get a bout of it again, but long may this situation last, and if I feel a downer coming on again, I'm going to try and find something else that I really needed to do. Surely there must be something, and pitch in and get on with it, and I think it'll help. And I hope that that sort of, I wouldn't say attitude, but that sort of scenario, if you happen to be a sufferer and you've got something that you think you can turn yourself to which needed doing or looking at for quite a long time, and I think that's the key. I don't think it's a matter of going for a walk or oh, go fishing today or whatever. I think it's the fact that that was there for such a long time, unfinished, and without me necessarily realising it, I think that was getting me down to some degree in itself. But the actual finishing it off and seeing the end product which I can ride and enjoy, that really gave me the biggest boost of all. And something like that just might help somebody else, so I thought I'd share it. And with New Year coming up and whatever, and all the resolutions and so on, perhaps there might be something that you might say to yourself, right, next year I'm going to do such and such. And if it's something like that that's been waiting a long time and possibly getting you down subconsciously, go for it, because I think it just might help. And Happy New Year when it comes, everybody. Thanks for watching.